We are driving the BYD Atto 3 today, an all-new electric SUV from an all-new electric car company, and it costs a whopping 34 lakh rupees. And you have to say that's a steep price tag for a newcomer, especially that has come out of nowhere. However, from whatever little I know, you shouldn't take BYD lightly. BYD, or Build Your Dreams, is one of China's biggest manufacturers. From batteries, semiconductors, mobile phones, solar panels, buses, and forklifts to now EVs, they make it all. What's more, with a global EV market share of nearly 20% in the third quarter of 2022, BYD currently leads the EV segment ahead of giants like Tesla and Volkswagen. More recently, BYD has made waves with their Blade batteries, which are claimed to be the safest and the best in the business in terms of energy density. The Blade battery incorporates a unique cell-to-pack packaging, which eliminates the need to assemble cells within different modules in a battery pack. According to BYD, their Blade battery offers better space utilization as compared to a regular battery pack, resulting in an overall higher energy density. It is a game-changing technology, so much so that biggies like Tesla and Toyota have already approached BYD to use Blade batteries in their future products. So as it turns out, BYD is no small player, and they seem to be an expert of all things electric. And that means the Atto 3 should be quite a car. Is it the case? Let's find out. First things first, the Atto 3 is a handsome EV. It has the right mix of sharp, sporty and strong lines. The pointy front end with sharp LED headlamps, a rakish roofline, prominent shoulder lines, large 18-inch wheels along with muscular haunches, and a coupe-like rear end featuring a one-piece LED taillight strip give it a sporty and purposeful stance. At around 4.5 meters, the Atto 3 is the same size as an Audi Q3. However, an SUV it's not. It's more of a crossover. In fact, at 175mm, its ground clearance is lower than a sedan like the Skoda Slavia. All told though, it is a stylish, sublime and contemporary design, which is far better than the cheesy or over-the-top stuff that you'd usually expect from a Chinese automaker. The party piece of the Atto 3 is its cabin, because this is unlike anything you have seen on the market. This is a very unique dashboard design and everything here is completely new. It just changes your perception on what BYD can do. So this theme is inspired by muscles and music. That's what BYD says. So as you can see, the whole dashboard pattern is like that. It has got that flex. It has this textured pattern. It is as if you're flexing your muscles, and it's quite curvy in that sense. And there are a lot of special bits in this cabin, special elements in the way they are designed, like these AC vents are inspired by dumbbells, and you've got this nice chunky gear lever, and you've also got this textured armrest which is treadmill inspired, so that probably you can give your fingers a bit of a workout. So yeah, this is how the cabin is. But what stands out is the quality and the fit and finish, because everything here, I can tell you, it's not like a 35 lakh rupee car. It feels much more expensive. It feels better than a lot of entry-level luxury cars. The fit and finish, the stitching, the way everything is put together, it is absolutely phenomenal. And there are some other bits that make you feel really special, make you feel that you're sitting in a very rich and upmarket cabin. Like for instance, the seats, they are body-hugging sports seats. You can see it feels like you're sitting in a sports car. It has got integrated headrest. The softness of the seat, it is all very well thought out. Of course, these seats are perforated, they are not ventilated. That's a missing feature. But overall, the feel-good factor of this cabin is just on another level. I think I'm really surprised by how well put together this whole cabin is. Now, among other things, there is this speaker which has this door latch integrated onto it, and again, a very clever and very nice touch. And there are a lot of storage compartments in this car, including this one. This is quite big, quite deep, so you can put a lot of stuff in here. There's one more thing that I want to touch upon. It's these strings over here. This is what the musical inspiration is. It is something that gives the car a unique touch. It's not just the quality, but the tech this vehicle packs, that's also on a totally different level. Now, starting with this touchscreen, this is nearly a 13-inch touchscreen, and it comes with a rotating function. So there's a button on the steering wheel. I press it and it turns from landscape to portrait mode. very crisp to use, and it has got a lot of features. It has got ADAS functions, it has a very nice, a very intuitive screen, and everything is quite easy to use. So on that front also, I think this is a very tech-laden cabin, and it's also high quality. Now, among some of the features that this car gets, it has got a camera functionality. This feels like your smartphone, so you can click pictures on the go if you want. The camera quality is not that great, I have to say. It's not something that you'd expect in a 35 lakh rupee car. It is a little blurry, it is a little pixelated. It has also got a 360-degree camera and multiple sensors. It has got parking assist, so there is a lot that you get in this vehicle. Now, for the driver, you have also got a digital display, which is also like a smartphone, but the only difference is it's not touch operated. So it has got just the basic functions. It's got a speedo, it tells you the range, it tells you the battery percentage, it also tells you how much power you're consuming when you're on the go, and basic stuff. Overall, I think in terms of tech, there is no complaining. I think this cabin feels absolutely perfect. Now, again, in terms of features, there is a lot to talk about, so we'll just put all the features on the screen so that you can see what all this car packs, because if I start talking about features, it'll take the whole day probably. Now, all said, it's not a perfect cabin at the end of the day, because there are a couple of things that might irritate you. It has got buttons over here on the center console, so you can access the air conditioning, and there's a volume controller here as well, a physical button, quite good and quite convenient to use. And you can also set the fan speed from here, but for your temperature controls and everything, you have to go to the touch screen and you have to set it from there. So again, it's a little fidgety. I don't like it because on the go it's quite distracting. Now, other thing that I want to touch upon is the fact that it comes with the USB-A and USB-C charging ports, but that USB-C charging port, I can't access it from the driver's seat. You have to come around from here, from the passenger seat, and then you can access it. I can't see it from here. I have a cable with me. I'll just show it to you. I have just got this cable. So from here I can't, I'm just shooting in the dark here. And from here I have to, again, I can't see it. It's quite, it's not that practical. So I'd say that this is something that will annoy you on a daily basis if you want to charge your phone. Of course, you've got a wireless charger over here, but if your phone doesn't support it, so you're going to struggle with finding those charging ports. Now, other thing that's not quite great is some plastics. It's an overall great cabin, but like some plastics down there, they are not of that great quality. They are actually very substandard in an otherwise great cabin. So this thing really stands out. When you touch and feel, that doesn't feel all that premium like how the overall car is, how the overall appeal of this cabin is. Coming to the seats, yes, they are great, but I don't think if you are of generous proportions, you're not going to like it because it's not very wide. And even the side support, you have got nice bolsters here, but it feels a little cramped. So if you have broad shoulders and if you are healthy and you've got a muscly body like the cabin of this car, well, you won't fit here comfortably. It feels a little small for what it is. But having said that, this cabin is actually quite good. I mean, I love the cabin of this car, and I think it alone justifies the price, the premium that BYD is asking for this car, because the tech it packs, the features it has, well, you're not going to find it in any other car in this segment. Forget just electric, even ICE cars, they don't have these sort of features and this sort of quality that BYD is giving you at this price point. The rear bench of the Atto 3 is also one of its main highlights, and I think this is quite spacious. It's quite airy as well. You've got a large panoramic sunroof, so the sense of space in here, well, it is phenomenal because you feel you're sitting in a bigger car. It feels livelier, it feels very airy, and I think if you're going to sit here, you'll absolutely love it. Especially the seats, like I said, they are very comfortable, very soft, and very accommodating as compared to the front seat, I'd say. Now, the other thing you'll notice is 3 people can sit here quite comfortably, and that's because there is no transmission hump. This is an electric car, so it's virtually flat. It's not a very wide car, but again, 3 people can sit here quite comfortably. I think the seats are really nice, really cushiony, and they've got great support. If you're of average height, you won't have any complaints in terms of knee room, leg room, or in terms of headroom. But yeah, if you're taller, you might feel it's a little constrained, but I don't think it's a problem because you can sit here quite comfortably. One thing is the floor, even though it's flat, it is a little raised. It's not as low as you'd find in conventional cars. That's because of the battery positioning. It's not really low, it's a little up. So you sit here with your knees up. So as you can see, there's no under thigh support. The seat is there, of course, so but I have my knees up, so you can see there's no support. These are some of the small things that you might notice when you travel long distance. In terms of features, you've got the same dumbbell shaped air vents over here. You've got the same strings over here that you can play and entertain yourself, and you've also got these two USB ports over here. So the same USB-A and USB-C ports. So quite convenient, because whichever cable you're carrying, you can charge your phone using this thing. But overall, it's actually not bad. It's quite comfortable and you can sit here very comfortably. Like I said, the under thigh support is not that great, but overall I think, again, it's a very small thing to complain about. I think in the larger scheme of things, you're going to absolutely love it here and you're going to be comfortable even if you're 3 people. In terms of storage spaces, you've got these sleeves, 2 sleeves over here and one big one over here to keep your stuff. Now the boot space on this car is 440 liters, which I think is not that great for a premium SUV or mid-size SUV. In other cars, it's much larger than that. And the loading lip of this boot is also much higher. So it's not very practical in that sense. You can stuff a lot of bags in there, but it's not the most spacious boot that you're going to get in a car at this price point. Oh my. With the kind of design, features, interior quality, everything that's on offer with the Atto 3, you think it might be compensating for a bad or average driving experience. Well, honestly, that's not the case, because this car actually drives really, really well. And I'm surprised, because I was also not expecting it to drive that well. This is an all-new company. This is their first product for the Indian market, in the sense it's their first SUV, which is aimed at private car buyers. And the way this car drives, well, actually, it feels like a well-engineered and very well-rounded product. Now, let me start with the performance first. This gets a 60 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which is the same blade battery pack that we talked about. It is quite efficient, like we've already discussed, and it powers an electric motor. This is front wheel drive. So the motor is rated at 201 bhp, which is 150 kilowatt, and it develops 310 Newton meters of torque. So quite respectable numbers. Now, in terms of performance, BYD claims that this car can do 0 to 100 in 7.3 seconds. However, the driving experience is not that electrifying. Of course, it is a very quick car, but the way the throttle has been modulated, the way this car picks up speed, it's very linear, it's very progressive. And that is something quite unlike an electric car, because electric cars, as we have come to experience, they are quite snappy. So off the line, they're really quick, instantaneous torque delivery, and that's where you expect that from an electric car. This feels like a more matured, I think it feels like a conventional car in that sense. Yes, it is quick, it is urgent, but it's not snappy. So that is where it differs, and that's where it drives like a more matured car. It drives like a luxury premium car. That's how you expect. If you have passengers sitting in the car, they won't be thrown around because of the acceleration. You can just mash the throttle pedal, but still the acceleration is going to be linear. It is going to pick up speed quite briskly, because this can do 0 to 100 in 7.3 seconds. It has got that sport mode where it unleashes maximum power. So yes, in terms of performance, it has got that, but the way this car accelerates, it is very sublime, and I think you'll love this driving experience. This is not a driver's car, right? So you're not going to expect those mind-numbingly quick acceleration figures. It is a family car, and it drives like that. So that's what it's the most surprising and probably the most impressive bit about this car. And more so because this is an unknown manufacturer. This is their first car. And the way it drives, the performance, well, it will make you question if other established car manufacturers, they're lacking something, because this feels it has come from one of those legacy car makers, you could say, because it has got the driving appeal of those cars. In terms of road holding also, this feels very European, this feels very mature. The ride is beautiful. I mean, it doesn't feel electric car-like. It's not jittery at low speeds. The suspension is very well calibrated. It just rides down the road very comfortably. It doesn't feel floaty. It doesn't feel overly stiff. It has got just that perfect balance. It's finely tuned for our road conditions. You go over bad roads at city speeds, you're not going to feel anything. At low speeds, of course, this is a heavy car. It weighs 1750 kilograms. You'd imagine the ride would be bouncy, but that's not the case. In the city, it is so absorbent. It just takes everything in its stride like a big car. And as a city car, it is going to excel because it has got great visibility. The glass house is large and you can see out of every corner and drive it very comfortably wherever you take it. Even at tight spaces, it doesn't feel its size. It feels like a hatchback in that sense. So that is a great thing. The other thing that I want to talk about is, of course, the handling. Like I said, the suspension is not overly soft or overly firm. It has got that nice balance. So again, it's not a corner cover in that sense, but it has got a sort of maturity. It feels taut without feeling uncomfortable. That's what I'd say. It feels nicely tied down. It's not a car that you can go hard cornering with, but if you do push it around a corner, it doesn't understeer. It doesn't have the tendency like electric cars have. In fact, that goes on to show the electronics on this car. They are also quite well tuned. One more thing that I want to praise is the brakes, because this car, the way it stops, first of all, the pedal feel, it doesn't feel wooden, it doesn't feel spongy like we have seen with many electric cars. You know, the initial brake feel, it's virtually dead, it's numb, you don't feel anything, there has no feel, no progression. So it is with a lot of electric cars because they have a mix of regen brakes and hydraulic brakes, and the switch between those brakes, it is quite evident because during the initial part of the braking, you don't get that feedback, that progression that you are used to in a conventional car. But this, I think BYD has nailed it in terms of braking, because even some of the more expensive cars, the brake feel is a little inert, but this has that progression, brakes in a very linear fashion, and I think that's what I loved about it, because this car can get up to high speeds really quickly, but even when you brake, it feels very confident and it gives you a lot of feedback as well. That's the most important thing. So I think in that department also, it is very surprising and very pleasantly so.
Standard and high are two modes for brake region, but neither is as aggressive as we have come to expect from EVs, so you can't really do one pedal driving with it. There are 4 driving modes: normal, eco, sports and snow. As for its range, BYD says the Atto 3 can go up to 480 to 500 km on a single charge, so realistically 400 km or thereabouts should be possible in our driving conditions. Using a 7 kW AC home charger, the battery pack can be juiced up fully in just shy of 10 hours. A DC fast public charger, 80 kW that is, will take about 50 minutes to charge it from 0 to 80%. BYD is also offering a warranty of 8 years on the battery and the motor. As for its safety ratings, the Atto 3 has scored a full 5 stars in Euro NCAP crash tests.
So overall, I think the BYD Atto 3 is a great product, and I think for their first attempt, they've absolutely knocked it out of the park, because the Atto 3 has got everything that you want in a car at this price point. I'm not saying for an EV, but at this price point, it is a 34 lakh rupees ex-showroom, but the kind of features it has, the performance it packs, the way it drives, how it feels overall, it is a very well engineered product. Of course, there are other EVs in the sense that you have the MG ZS EV, which is slightly more affordable, but the kind of quality, the kind of performance that this car has, well, the MG can't match it. So if you have a budget of 30 lakh rupees, which is how much the MG costs, and you can stretch it a little, I think this is the car to buy. I would definitely suggest you go take a look at it and drive it. You'll absolutely love the experience. And if you're not obsessed by the badge, well, I think you'll end up getting this car. Now that was it from us today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like this video. It's quite rainy here. We are in Chennai. They have issued red alert because there's a cyclone coming. So we have to get going. So keep following AutoX for more automotive content. See you soon.